don't go anywhere, because you know once you said you a baller, you know I perked up right away, man. So, and it's so
Okay.
funny, but the young people, we also have. They could be a Nigel, they can be a Phil, they could be a Dr. Faith, and they could be Coach Gustus. So, and if you don't know who those guys are, we are the ones on the show right now. And I do want to say something to you. I was talking to one of my young guys from out of Atlanta, and he was on a march. He was marching. He's 24 years old. Just came out of Morehouse, and he was on Instagram, and he was really upset that he felt that the young people was out there all by themselves. They was all alone. And he said, made a statement to the elders. And he says, where are you guys? Why y'all not out there with me? And he continued to talk. It was a beautiful conversation that he was having with his people that's watching him. And he said, is it that y'all don't have courage to come out there and be with us?
Mm.
And you could see he was clearly hurt until I got a hold of him. And I let him know that we fighting a war, just one battle. This is not the battle. This is one battle. I've many times, some of your elders have dried a lot of eyes coming from their face. But I wanted him to understand this here. And this is coming to your point, Nigel. When you fight in a war, there's three types of ways you got to fight it. You got the ground, which is the Army. You got the Navy, which is the waters. And then you got the Air Force. On the ground level, the Army, that's our young people. And they doing a fantastic job. They open this sucker up. And that's our millennials. That's our young millennials and borderline Gen X. Because the Gen X is right now the Navy people. They on the water. They waiting for to come in with the kill. They coming in to make some moves. They flowing in the ocean and doing what they got to do, hovering out there while the millennials do their work.
Yeah.
But then you got the OGs, the original gentlemen. And that's us. And we hovering from the Air Force, right? Bomb, getting ready to drop some wisdom down to you. And that wisdom is going to come in many different kinds of ways. Those are bombs that's going to totally drop this thing. So we in there together, guys. So don't get discouraged. You're a warrior. You got the power to do that. What you're doing, like Nigel said, you can do all of those things. And then you got the Gen X who's been experiencing certain things, and they are now waiting. They got the submarines. They got all the power. Look at his brother here. Education in terms of finances. He could teach you so much. You see what I'm saying? So be prepared. Do what you're doing. You got the energy. You got the enthusiasm. You got the drive. You got the passion to be out there on the ground. And boy, you open it up. It has never been opened up since Dr. King time. Trust me, Malcolm and Dr. King time. Right?
If I can add on to that, Coach Gus, about
Yes.
the Army and the Air Force and the Navy, one thing that I just want to mention is Army might never see the Air Force.
Right.
You know, so your point is the young brother who's out there fighting. I don't see y'all. Don't mean you're not fighting.
That's right.
You all have a role to play, and to give it a little piece of history. If you don't know, young people, Arthur George Gaston, for the longest time, one of the wealthiest men in American history, a black man, financed the civil rights movement. When they needed to organize the Montgomery boycott, he's the one who paid for it. When people were boycotting, they couldn't feed their families. Who was paying to feed their families? He was. Was he out there walking? Sometimes, but not every time. But everybody's got a role to play, just like they do on the court, just like they do in a war. But the idea is we are a team and must stay unified towards a common goal.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Hey, I gotta take us to some questions, man. Um, uh, Nigel, you done came in here and fired it up a little bit, man. So that's a great job. Uh, so listen, I got a question for you, Nigel. In fact, how do I make that first step to start my own business? And this is very important because economically, our young people are really trying to move in that area. So when all this stuff is over, how do I start with my first step to make, and also to make sufficient amount of money without a college degree? Because uh, they looking at the young people, especially millennials, they looking at this Gen X and they see frustration because those Gen X went to college, paying all these bills, and they're like, "Yo, we ain't trying to do that," and I don't blame them. So, and I'm a baby boomer, but I don't blame them. What is your thoughts on that, man?
Absolutely. I'm happy to jump in on both of those. Well, first, I'll talk about what it takes to start your own business. And I'm going to say two things. One of them is money. If you don't have money, that's all good. Get to started on the plan. And Coach Gus mentioned, hey, what happens when things start to open up? Well, you don't got to wait till things open up. If you know how to cut hair, you can make lemonade. You can sweep people's stew. You could go on all the businesses on Flatbush Avenue and say, I'm going to wipe your windows for X amount of dollars every day and get your little hustle like that. So first identify what is it that I'm trying to do? What can I bring value to my community, right? Because no one understands your block better than you. What do they need on your block? They need somebody to shovel. What's missing? Find that. How can I deliver that? And then connect who's going to pay you to do that. And maybe they don't pay you the first time. Maybe you got to do one business for free to build a reputation for the other businesses. But business is about strategizing and connecting with people. So in this time when nothing's happening, whatever that business is, you become an expert in that business, right? You should know everything because like we said, it's all at the tip of your fingers, right? You can go be an expert on everything and bring that to fruition. With the second part of the question about college, college is significantly expensive. College gets more and more expensive, seems like every generation. So I totally understand a young person looking at $50,000 a year to go to college is going to be a big expense that I can't afford. Well, I'm going to tell you two things. Well, number one, the world is changing. The world that I grew up in couldn't have no tattoos. You had to dress a certain way. Now the biggest companies that people want to work for, they don't care if you got a tattoo and you can wear jeans and a t-shirt every day. So further to that point, the world's changing. Right now, Google has changed their official policy to say you don't need a college degree to work here. So what do you need? You need experience. You should learn. If you don't know what to do right now, what's going to make you $200,000 a year, let me say it again, what's going to make you $200,000 a year is if you learn how to code. You can go to Code Academy. You can go to there a bunch of resources, Khan Academy, Code Academy, Black Girls Code, all sorts of resources where you can learn how to code, build a website, build an app from scratch, work with your city council person to get your resume together, and you can start charging to play. It changed my life personally when I was able to get a developer on the team for Ball Star, because up until that point, I was paying someone to do it all. And whatever you don't learn, you're going to end up paying someone to do. So college isn't all bad because it's a great place to learn. It's a great place to learn from other people, what they're looking to get out of college, and grow your network because, again, knowing people's important. College is a great place for that. But you got to decide. This is an adult decision, right? What's going to be my plan? What's the best place to get there? And those are two great options, with or without college.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, we got a question from the audience. All right. I believe this is Miss Bartos. She's a volunteer with the Community Change Action. She wanted to know, well, she made a statement first. She said, we are following up with everyone who RSVP'd for our town hall with Stacey Abrams. There's so much happening right now with the COVID-19. And so they're making things meet. They try to make all the end meets, all these senseless violence acts with Judge Flood, as well as the police brutality and all those things that are taking place. We know times are tough, she says. But she asking a question, how are you feeling about being a voter in the upcoming election? How do we encourage our young people to vote in the upcoming election? Phil, what is your thoughts on voting?
Well, I think it's very, very important, and especially today. I think it's a wonderful thing that we have the young people that want to vote, and they're showing us that they want to vote. They're showing us that they want change, and I truly believe that that's what this is all about. This is all about change. And again, I thank them for even marching in front of my house. It's a wonderful thing to see that. But I think what's very important is that it's not a Black thing. It's America. We're all about America. This is America. And when I looked out my window and I saw Asian, I saw Caucasians, I saw Black, I saw white. It's just something that needs to happen. And I think it's very, very simple what needs to happen. And that is change. And a change is coming. And I truly believe that these young kids, they're tired now. They are tired. So they want change. And it's going to happen. And we just have to pray and give them strength and give them courage and let them know that we are behind them 100%.
Beautiful. We got the curfew for tonight, so we got folks down here, got to clean up and get. So time goes so fast, man. You guys get up in here, you start dropping some science.
Do we have time for any more questions, Coach? Because we had a couple more questions.
Well, we do. Go ahead, Dr. Face. You have?
Yeah, there was a question from Carol, actually. She was saying, realizing that there's a need for healing in our community, particularly given everything that is going on and so many things that have been buried deep, deep, dark secrets from long ago. She's wanting to know from the panel, from perhaps each of us, if we're now willing to love people for who they are and where they are, so that healing can truly take place. And I will just say very quickly, as a psychologist, absolutely, we love people for who they are and where they are. And when we can get people to accept themselves for who they are and where they are, healing can ignite from that source altogether. So absolutely, I can vouch for me. So Bishop Bradford, what about you? And Phil and Nigel, what about you guys?
I didn't hear a part of the question, a good part of the question. However, what I would say, there was something that Phil brought up that was so very important, and that is change.
Yeah.
And that's what we need right now. I'm not just talking about political change, but I'm speaking about change as a whole, because we have been, as a people, dealing with symptoms.
Yeah.
And it is important that we go to origin. We go to the root of the problem and not just the symptoms of the problem. Because even if you cut off what you're seeing, just the symptoms, everything is going to keep coming back as long as the root stays intact. Yeah. And so it is very important that we understand, first of all, look, the whole thing is, we have lost, or we don't understand what balance is. We need balance in our lives, and we're lacking that. And we also have lost our identity, and we need to know that. We need to go back to our identity. Let me just try to share something here. Listen, man is a trichotomy, okay? We are a trichotomous being. We're made up of body, soul, and spirit. Where the imbalance is right now is that we concentrate much on the body, what you can see. And we also concentrate to a lesser degree on the mind, where we're dealing with the mental issues. Everybody has mental issues, everybody. But people don't want to admit it simply because the stigma that goes with it. If I have a mental issue and I say I have one, then people are going to think I'm crazy, I'm loco. But no, everybody has mental issues. Why? Because we do not have a balance in our lives. We lack the body, soul, and spirit working together. I tell you something, we work a lot on the body, but the body only makes us world conscious. It makes us conscious of what is happening around us. But there is a soul, and the soul, it makes us self-conscious. Yeah. So the soul, it is in the soul that you have your will to do or not to do, to be or not to be. It is there that you make up your mind whether you are going to follow instructions or not follow instructions. And so it is your soul that gives you that self-consciousness. But there is the other part that we are lacking terribly. As a matter of fact, in many, many cases, we don't deal with it at all. And that is the spirit. The spirit makes us God conscious. And that is the area that we are lacking much in our lives, that is causing the imbalance in our lives.